Right, we're still continuing with social entrepreneurship and human development. Last time we went through microfinance and how we could look at helping those that were marginalised, in particular those who are poor in rural communities, and again in particular women, those that couldn't access credit. We looked at the Grameen Bank, which was established by Muhammad Yunus, and those that went to take a loan basically didn't have to have any collateral. So if you recall, the loans were quite small, between $1 to $500, and they did charge interest. So that's something that we need to keep in mind, right? So another thing that we're looking at today is a different way that we potentially could empower, right? We're looking at social entrepreneurship and human development through the lens of fair trade. Now, you'll see in the background here our fair trade certified logo. So a lot of products that we see in the supermarket, places like Marks and Spencer's, will have this logo here. All right, so it's certified because they've done various things in order to help working conditions, pay a fair price, maybe the way in which the product was produced in terms of the environment. So it's certified, okay? So if we talk about fair trade, we're talking about ethical trade. We're not talking about our high-income countries not exporting subsidised goods. What we're doing is we're looking at things that were produced in a social, economically, and in an environmentally responsible manner, right? So if I see this logo on a product, so it might be a bag of coffee. Even if I go to Starbucks, I can purchase a fair trade type of coffee. So that means it was produced in a certain manner or a particular price was paid, right? So an attempt to be socially, economically, and environmentally responsible, okay? So what this means is as a consumer and companies and businesses, we take wider responsibility here. So we're cutting out the middleman essentially. So if I choose to buy some chocolate, I might buy some chocolate with this fair trade logo on here because I know that generally the middleman has been cut out and the grower of that might have been paid a minimum price for cocoa, etc. Okay, so I'll see this logo here. It often means a fair price has been paid to the grower. Because quite often what happens is the middleman will go and buy from the grower and at a very, very, very low price, which is generally not a livable price. So if I have something that is fair trade, it means generally a fair price for goods and services. Sometimes it depends on the actual commodity or the good. It might be 5% above market price, for example. And on some of our coffee, that's what we actually do have. Okay, so I often see this on raw commodities or goods such as coffee, tea, sugar. I see Marks and Spencer's, you can see here, supports this. So you can see the logo on their drinking chocolate. So the cocoa would have been produced in an ethical manner, maybe a higher price for the grower. Similar thing here with our tea bags. Okay, I can look at things, you know most of these. So if I look at Maltesers, I can look at my sugar, my cocoa as well. Otherwise, as I said, what happens is a middleman will go and buy this at a very, very low price, and then they will sell it to the producer at the end of the day who's making the chocolate or making the coffee, such as Marks and Spencer's. Okay, so sometimes our retailers like Marks and Spencer's are the driving force behind fair trade. They choose to support these products, right? So if I look at fair trade products, that means that they have been made in an ethical manner. Okay, so a living wage has been paid, right? No employment or exploitation of children or workers, no discrimination. We try to reduce gender inequality. So this is another way we're talking about development, right? I can try to support the development of those in rural areas in particular who are struggling through this concept of fair trade. I pay them a living wage. I don't exploit them, all right? I don't employ children. I don't discriminate. Okay, so if I have a look around the world here, fair trade certified products, and I trace back, we're looking really around about 200,000 workers plus who are directly employed in fair trade certified higher labour settings, which is excellent. All right, now we're going to look at a case study here called the People Tree. This is a fashion or garment company, which is from Japan, and it was set up in 1991. Right, so just need to remember that. The People Tree, the Japanese company, set up in 1991. Its whole outlook, really, and the reason it was set up was based on sustainable and fair trade principles. So all of the garments here, as much as they can, have been produced all the way back to the raw materials going into it. So my cotton might be organic, for example. That means I don't use fertilizers and pesticides in the growth of this where possible. Okay, I don't use children, I don't exploit, I don't use machines. I use people in rural areas who can use their hands. That means that they get employed. It'd be quite difficult if I was using machines, because then I'd really need them to come into urban areas, and I'd be doing this on a larger scale here. All right. So as I said, it was founded in Japan in 1991. You can see the woman down here. This is their sort of one of their logos here. You can see the woman down here working with their hands. This is one way that we could take this to rural communities. If we're using lots and lots of technology, it wouldn't be as easy to do. Okay, so if I'm talking, as I said, about cotton, so not all my fair trade products are organic, but a lot of them are, because when I talk about fair trade, I'm talking about social, and I'm talking about the environment as well. So yes, a living wage, but I do take into account how my raw commodities or material were produced. So cotton is often, where possible, because it depends on the type of soil, how easy it is to grow in a particular region, where possible, we try to make this organic. So good for the environment, no fertilizers, no pesticides here involved. All right, so we're just going to look at a People Tree video for a few minutes. Okay, so I'll start this now.
We are People Tree, pioneers in sustainable and fair trade fashion. We do things differently.
I'm James. Together with my wife Safia, we started People Tree because we wanted fair trade product which just didn't exist.
We are very much a catalyst within the fashion industry for change, for responsibility, both in terms of labour practice and also environmental protection.
When People Tree was founded, the abuse of human rights in the fashion business was appalling.
They just wanted the cheap price and a good profit. It's 21st century. It's a global world we are living, and we just ignore other people's life. How come?
Survival, profit, and ethics are still the battleground of today's fashion story.
Hey, they're selling at the $4, so the target price is 3. If you can meet the 3, you're getting business, otherwise you are not getting. Because we want that business so badly, we don't have other options. Okay, every time we are trying to survive actually.
Caring about people while making beautiful fashion is the reason we started this journey. It's a journey we're proud of.
90% of our Spring Summer 16 collection is made from organic cotton, which is fantastic. We want to build on that and develop new, exciting, sustainable materials as well.
We're researching innovative new materials like tencel, organic wool, and recycled polyester. We've set the bar high, the gold standard for 25 years, and other brands are following our lead. We've worked with amazing designers like Peter Jensen, Bora Aksu, Vivienne Westwood, Sandra Rhodes, and Orla Kiley. Our success creates financial predictability and stability for our farmers, spinners, dyers, and artisans, pre-funding them where necessary to provide the essential working capital they need.
People Tree were the first fashion brand to be guaranteed fair trade by the World Fair Trade Organisation. People Tree works with some of the most economically marginalised communities. We design our collection around their traditional craft skills such as hand weaving, hand embroidery and hand block printing. We place 90% of our orders with 10 key producer groups who we visit throughout the year, carrying out wage interviews, audits and risk assessments.
By showing people that fashion can be as beautiful throughout the supply chain as it looks when you're wearing it, that's how we want to take the rest of the fashion market with us.
We are fashion's sustainable fair trade future. We are People Tree.
Right, so you would have seen in the video there that they try to take work out into rural areas and they try to make it as sort of traditional as they can. They want people to be able to use their hands, right? So using traditional skills, also combining that with new innovative technology, okay, so that will help support and grow their businesses. Hand weaving is really important, hand knitting, hand embroidery. So using this, then you can go out into rural areas where work is often scarce. So this is the philosophy behind this company here. Right, so you would have seen in the video as well, a lot of their clothes are dyed using low impact dyes. So when we talk about fair trade, we're also talking about the environment. We're not just talking about the people that we employ, lack of discrimination, a living wage. We're also talking about the environment. So we want to make sure that our dyes are free from harmful chemicals as well. All right, so we looked at what they use in terms of their materials. So natural materials wherever possible, avoiding anything that is toxic or plastic where possible, right? What I want you to do is go to 580 in your text and explain the People Tree's eco policy.
There's a lot of talk about sustainability at the moment, but what does it all mean? And how does fair trade fit in? Well, sustainability is about more than the environment, in the same way that fair trade is about more than just fair prices. They're both about people, and meeting their needs today without compromising the needs of people in the future. To do this, our economies, societies and the environment all need to be sustainable. And you can't tackle any of these on their own, as they're closely interconnected. So, for fair trade, sustainability is about working on all of them. Whether it's fighting for a living wage for workers, training farmers to be more resilient to climate change, or enabling communities to invest in education. Fair trade empowers farmers and workers to face a range of economic, environmental and social challenges. It's also about supporting and challenging businesses and governments to make trade fairer, and inspiring shoppers to think a bit more about what they buy. These are all foundations of sustainability. Let's give you an example. This is Teresa, a fair trade coffee farmer in Nicaragua. She wants the same things from work that you do: security, equality, and a decent income so she can build a stronger future for her family. But this isn't always easy. Farmers face all sorts of challenges and often don't have resources or the support to tackle them. So, how does fair trade make a difference? Well, Teresa's a member of a fair trade certified cooperative, an organised group of farmers who support each other, sharing knowledge about how to grow and sell coffee. This gives Teresa security, as she can sell better quality beans and earn at least the fair trade minimum price to cover the cost of producing them. She's also learning how to look after and adapt to the changing environment, which makes her livelihood more stable and her farm more environmentally friendly. Teresa's cooperative want women and men to gain equally from farming. So they've used the fair trade premium, the extra money they get to spend on business or community projects, to support women like Teresa to market their coffee and gain more independence. Teresa also used a small loan scheme funded by the premium to buy more land, which has allowed her to increase her productivity and income and make her a more reliable supplier. These economic, environmental and social impacts contribute to a more secure, equal and sustainable future for Teresa, her family and her community. And it goes wider than that. Fair trade works with over 1 million other farmers like Teresa every year. Fair trade also supports hundreds of thousands of workers on large plantations to improve their working conditions, their standard of living and their confidence by making sure they're treated properly. They also get the premium to invest in building a better life for themselves and their communities. So, whether you're a business managing your supply chain or a shopper deciding what goes in your basket, choosing fair trade contributes to a more sustainable world for us all.